And joining me right now, ASAP's attorney, Joe Tacopina. Joe, congratulations on the victory.
Thank you.
It's a big win for you there. Let's go right to the emotion. Your thoughts when, after the first count is read, not guilty, Rocky just leaps out of his chair into the gallery.
You know, I knew there were 2 counts, and Billy, I'm laser focused on that clerk. One here, both not guilty, because, you know, I've seen old things happen in jury verdicts where they could split the verdict, right? Or, you know, you just never know. And so after the first not guilty, I'm laser focused on the clerk to hear that second count. And I looked to my right, he's gone. And I didn't know he left. He was just gone. I said to my partner, did he leave? Did he just leave?
Not guilty.
He didn't want to stay around for the hug with you?
And I was like, wow, what happened? And I see him on top of Rihanna. I was like, what is? I couldn't process quickly enough. I told my partner, get him back here. We have another count.
Yeah.
So then I'm thinking, my God, if the second count doesn't go well, this is going to be embarrassing. But of course, you know, it did, and I was confident it was going to. But yeah, that was just an emotional explosion.
You said the word emotion. You got emotional.
Oh yeah.
In your summation, you were emotional. I think if I'm opposing counsel at that point, I go, oh no, he's deeply connected here. When you can feel that, that's powerful. What did he say to you during the hug?
He said some very nice things. I mean, he told me he loved me and we're family. And you know what? But it's not so much the hug. That's after the great news. It's what he said to me before the jury came out, as they were about to file into that courtroom, where he didn't know if he was going to go home and see his 2 babies that night or start a decade-long prison sentence, literally that day. Ugh. And he looked at me and he grabbed me and he said, Joe, I just want you to know, I know how hard you fought here. I know everything you've done, and I just appreciate you so much. I appreciate everything you've done to me, for me, and we're in this together no matter what, and I love you. And I was like, okay, Rocky, don't get me emotional right now. The jury's coming in, because, you know, that's something that is rare. When you have a client that's like, I mean, he's about to hear his fate, and it's obviously a very serious moment for him, and he has the wherewithal and the thought to think, let me acknowledge and thank this guy. And it was special that he did that, and but it's who he is. And I said that's why I got emotional in that summation at the end. 5.5 hours of me speaking straight to a jury. At the end, it all crescendoed when I started talking about him and how important he is to me and how good of a person he is, and Rihanna and their family, and how much I appreciated them putting their trust in me.
So how did that develop, that part of the relationship? Is this time spent in the home with them?
Yeah, I spent time in the home with them. When she did the Super Bowl, I was there, and I wound up accidentally babysitting for the first child, when she was getting her hair done.
They left you alone with the baby?
I was supposed to go to all these Super Bowl, Billy. I was supposed to go to
This is a movie starring Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I was supposed to be going to Super Bowl parties that night. I was invited to everywhere, A-Rods and all these different things.
You're a handsome lawyer.
I've never been to a Super Bowl. I got invited to all these great Super Bowl parties. So I'm at, Rocky asked me to come and have a quick dinner with him, an early dinner with him, Rihanna, his mom, and the babies. And I did that, and then Rihanna had to get her hair and everything done for the Super Bowl the next day. And then all of a sudden Rocky said, can you just take care of the baby, because I'm just holding for a minute. I'm getting a pedicure, and I don't even know what a pedicure is. And then all of a sudden I see buckets being set up and feet things and baths, and I'm looking at him, I go, how long does this take? And the lady's like, I'll be done in like an hour and a half. I'm like, half? So I was babysitting for an hour and a half. So there was a different type of relationship with him than with most clients. He became close to my son. He helped him out with his clothing line. He's just, but he's a unique person. I don't get like this with every client, but he is someone who's a genuinely good person, and that's something I appreciated. He's appreciative of things. He's a humble person. He helps people. Like, what this jury didn't hear about him is the work he does for the community, the charitable work that he gives back. He's in Harlem all the time, going to housing projects, giving food, giving sneakers. That stuff he keeps under the radar. He doesn't even publicize that stuff. He's just a good person. Rihanna is a great person. They are, and they meant a lot to me. They've meant, 3 years we got to be very close. And don't forget, when you're in a bunker with someone like this, and you're in a fight for literally their lives. Now, I don't mean death penalty lives, but his liberty for decades, where he would miss the development of his children. It's an emotional bond that is not easily set aside once the case is over. So, yep.
This child you held in your arms came into the court with their siblings. So the baby's in the courtroom. That was very effective. Was that because we couldn't find the nanny that day? I don't think so.
No, you know what it was? Listen, he has a family, it wasn't a secret to this jury, and Rihanna was there almost every day.
But it's helpful for them to see it.
You
This
know,
is the family that he's going to be away from for 10 years.
I don't think it was helpful for them to see it. What the real reason was this. That day was summations. And in theory, what we initially believed, the judge had told us he was going to start the jury deliberations that day, after summations, right after summations. If they came back with a quick verdict, like they did, and it didn't go his way, that would be the last time he saw his children. So she wanted them in court, in the courtroom house. One of the littlest one, stayed outside. But RZA was inside because he's a little older and he comported himself very well and he looked like a sweet little gentleman. But
great little suit.
Yeah, great little suit. And he was there. But that's family. I mean, it's his family. He has every right to have him there. The judge actually chastised the prosecutor for mentioning that in his summation. He said, I don't want you to mention Rihanna or those kids again in the summation. And I don't think that played well because, they were focused on Rihanna and the children and, everything but the facts. We laser focused on the facts in that summation. 5.5 hours I spoke to that jury and we talked about the deficiency in the evidence, the facts and the reasonable doubts in this case. And obviously, after 3+ hours of deliberating after a month-long trial, they agreed.
Where does the civil case stand? Will Relly drop that, you think?
I think that's on life support, to say the least, at this point. Whether he'll drop it or not, I don't know. Whether his attorneys will want to stick with it, because a lot of evidence came out in this trial.
Have you learned anything from opposing counsel? Will they stick with this? I mean, you're talking. Your opposing counsel walked out.
Right.
I mean, he left before this thing was even over,
yeah,
so you can't imagine.
Prosecutor screwed out pretty quickly there.
Wasn't to get working on the civil case, I don't think.
No, it was just not to be seen. I didn't even get to say goodbye to Mr. Lewin, which made me sad.
You're upset about that.
Yeah, I was really sad about that. So he, I don't know if he's going to follow through with it. I mean, he's going to get exactly this much money. So if he wants to play the charade any longer, I mean, he had knuckle scrapes, literally knuckle scrapes, that he claimed in a lawsuit was a bullet wound that required medical attention and caused a permanent disability. Yet he's on Instagram doing a boomerang video with his nails manicured and his watch. I mean, it's a farce. The whole thing's a farce.
So you're not expecting that to...
We caught him on tape, obviously, and this was a moment where he claimed it was a fake. It was a fake tape, like it was a AI recording or something, where he's basically saying, give me $30 million to Rocky's friend, and I'll disappear to an island. DA will never find me. But that's called extortion. He's literally selling the criminal case, and Rocky didn't bite, and we exposed that to the jury, and I think that was the death knell for him.
You had some heated moments there with the prosecutor.
Yeah.
Lewin. What your thoughts on him?
Look, I'm gonna bask in the victory. I'm not gonna throw mud at this point. I don't kick people when they're down, but this is my 120th jury trial, Billy, both as a prosecutor and a defense attorney. I've experienced different adversaries, tough adversaries, hard-charging adversaries who do it like I do it. I don't often always get along with my adversaries, but I've never had it become personal like it was here. I've never experienced anyone like I did, this individual, who came with quite a reputation, let's put it that way. I got calls from many lawyers for warning me, including people from inside DA's office, two of whom are suing him right now. But putting that aside, it was just everything became very personal with him, and I think this was a case that he wanted to he had been sidelined for a couple of years under the old DA. This was his coming out party, apparently, and he just took it very personally. I found him to be very hypocritical, throwing around accusations throughout the whole trial every day about ethics and whatnot. When he had an arsenal of issues that he had to deal with, including one from an appellate court that found him. Well, I don't need to get into it, but made some very unflattering findings about his conduct. And I was just not impressed with the way he handled himself. So simple as that. But I'm not going to spend another minute thinking about him.
This verdict is the last word.
He was gone. Yeah, this verdict was the last word. That's my goodbye. So, so I shook the detective's hands.
You got to keep the big taco. That's all I'm saying.
I shook detective's hands when we left. I was going to shake the prosecutor's hands, but he was gone before I could even turn around. So that was that. really, I mean, it was, I've cross-examined a lot of people, and I'm known to be a very aggressive, very thorough, very successful cross-examiner. This was like taking candy from a baby. I mean, it really was. People have said that was the most devastating cross I've ever seen, because this was on TV, national television. So people were, pundits were like, wow, Joe devastated him, he brutalized him, he destroyed this witness. I'm like, well, thank you, but I don't think it was necessarily all my skill set. This guy put a noose around his neck and hung himself, and his credibility, I should say, in a way that I've never seen a witness do. I mean, he cursed on the witness stand, he flexed his muscles, he threw a water bottle, he admitted perjury. He admitted he told me an answer that he told me because he just wanted to leave. He told the jury I could say whatever I want to that jury. He committed what I call the perjury mini-series by lying about having access to guns and 9mm guns right before this incident. And then he kept lying upon that lie. And it was unbelievable. So I told this jury, I said, look, you have a witness here who, if you can't trust him in a matter of importance in your own life or life of a loved one, you cannot trust him in a matter of importance in his life, right? And you would never trust this guy with 5 cents. I mean, his tongue is a stranger to the truth. And honestly, I told this jury, I said, you guys have a front row seat to history here, because you are witnessing and did witness the absolute worst witness in the history of American jurisprudence. I've never seen, and I wasn't the only one feeling that way. There were many people in that courtroom who came to that conclusion. I mean, it was unbelievable how he was a glorious train wreck, as I called it, a glorious train wreck. Because for us it was terrific, but I've never seen anyone implode like that on the witness stand.
He's no longer an ASAP. You are.
Oh, he's definitely not an ASAP anymore.
No, he's stripped of the ASAP.
For sure.
Well, one of the great triumphs is Rocky has dubbed you ASAP Joe.
I'm ASAP Joe now, yeah. But he's also just a great, great person.
Love him.
Rihanna,
ASAP Joe.
I mean, and I don't think, listen, I think this is a reassignment of the ASAP, because I don't believe Relly is still ASAP Relly.
I think I took it.
You get his ASAP.
I got his ASAP nominal, yes.
I think it's ASAP Day. I'm going with ASAP Bushy. We're here with ASAP Joe.
Bushy, yep, absolutely.
But I have to, is it a name you want to just file away? Because Big Taco is pretty good.
It depends on the audience. I mean, when I'm in Harlem, when I'm hanging with the boys, I'm ASAP Joe. When I'm, in different locales, I'll be Big Taco.
When I'm on the beach at Club Med, I'm Big Taco.
Whatever it is. But no, it was nice. I mean, Rihanna and Rocky said to me in the courtroom yesterday, they grabbed me and they said, listen, our next baby is ASAP Joe.
Hey!
I said, I'm going to hold you to that. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Joe.
My pleasure, man.
Congrats.
Good seeing you again.